There's a quiet enemy living inside your mind. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but every single day, it steals your dreams, your confidence, and your chance at the life you deserve. It whispers that you're not enough, that success is for someone else, that taking a risk is too dangerous. And because it's hidden, you don't even realize it's there, quietly, invisibly, destroying everything you're capable of. But here's the truth, these beliefs aren't facts. Stories you've been told, stories you've accepted as reality without questioning. And the moment you recognize them, the moment you decide to break free, is the moment your life changes forever. Today, I'm going to show you 7 hidden beliefs that are quietly killing your success. And more importantly, how to shatter them, step into your true power, and finally live the life you've been meant to lead. You see, most people believe that success or failure is determined by luck, by opportunity, or by the people around them. They look at the world and say, oh, if only I had more time, more money, more connections, more education, more this, more that, then I could succeed. But the real truth, the truth that almost nobody talks about, is that the biggest obstacle to your success isn't outside of you. It's inside. It's the voice in your head, the hidden beliefs you carry without even realizing it, the stories you've been telling yourself for years about who you are and what you can achieve. These beliefs are invisible, and that's exactly why they're so dangerous. They are the silent gatekeepers of your life. They decide how far you can go, risks you take, who you trust, and even how much happiness you allow yourself to feel. And until you become aware of them, until you shine a light on them, they will control you quietly, relentlessly, and without mercy. Think about it. Have you ever tried to push yourself to do something new, something outside your comfort zone, only to feel a strange resistance? That resistance is not the world telling you no. It's your mind protecting you from the unfamiliar. Even if the familiar is keeping you small, you've been trained to stay safe, to follow the path that feels predictable, even if that path is quietly crushing your potential. The mind doesn't want to fail, and it doesn't want to take risks. So it creates stories to justify staying small. Maybe you've heard them yourself. I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. And if you believe those stories long enough, you've stopped even trying to rise above them. But here's the thing. The mind is not your enemy. It's just doing its job. It's protecting you from pain. And pain isn't always literal. It can be emotional, the discomfort of uncertainty, the fear of looking foolish, the shame of failing. So your mind says better to stay here where it's predictable. And if you don't challenge that, if you don't question that, it quietly builds a cage around your potential, cage that's invisible to the eye, but impossible to ignore in your life. The cage is made of habits, fears, doubts, and assumptions that you never tested. You've accepted them as truths because someone told them to you, because life handed you experiences that seem to confirm them. But they aren't truths, they're limitations. And limitations, no matter how comfortable they feel, will always hold you back. The first step to breaking free is awareness. You cannot change what you don't see. You cannot escape what you cannot identify. And the good news is, the moment you start questioning your beliefs, the moment you begin to see the patterns that have been controlling your life, begin to reclaim your power. You begin to see that you are not defined by the limits you've been carrying, and that your potential is far greater than anything you've allowed yourself to imagine. Awareness is the spark, action is the fire. Leads to the other. Once you see the chains, you can break them. Once you understand the scripts, you can rewrite them. And here's the most powerful truth about this invisible enemy. It is not fixed, it is not permanent, and it is not undefeatable. You have the power to change your mind, to question your assumptions, to challenge the rules you've been living by, and to create new beliefs that serve you rather than imprison you. You can begin to train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to see possibilities instead of limitations, to see your own value instead of your shortcomings. Every belief you choose to change is like removing a brick from the wall that's been holding you back. And the more bricks you remove, the taller your dreams can grow. It's not easy. It takes courage. It takes persistence. It takes honesty with yourself. But every person who has ever achieved something remarkable has done exactly this. They recognize the invisible forces holding them back, and they refuse to let those forces dictate their lives. They looked at the fear, the doubt, the self-imposed limits, and they said, not anymore. I will not let these beliefs control me. And when they made that decision, when they took ownership of their mind and their destiny, everything changed. So today, I want you to start noticing. Start paying attention to the quiet, subtle thoughts that run through your mind every day. Start asking yourself, which of these beliefs are mine? Which ones have been planted there by someone else? Start recognizing the invisible barriers that have been keeping you from the life you deserve. And remember, the moment you become aware, the moment you shine a light on these hidden beliefs, is the moment you reclaim your freedom. Because here's the bottom line, nothing outside of you can stop you. The only thing standing in your way is the story you've been telling yourself, and that story can be rewritten. There's a belief that almost everyone carries, though few admit it aloud, the belief that you are not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not deserving enough. And this belief is insidious because it masquerades as humility, as caution, even as practicality. It whispers to you in subtle ways, your turn. Don't make waves. Don't aim too high. It convinces you that failure would be catastrophic, that risk is too dangerous, and that it's safer to stay small. And because you've lived with this thought for so long, it feels like truth. But it isn't truth. It's a story and a lie that has been quietly shaping your life. When you carry the belief that you are not enough, everything you do becomes filtered through it. Every decision is influenced by fear. Every relationship is touched by insecurity, and every opportunity is approached with hesitation. You overwork to prove your worth, or you underperform to avoid exposure. You apologize when you shouldn't, you shrink when you should expand, and you settle for mediocrity when greatness is calling. And you wonder why your life feels stuck, why your potential never seems to match your ambition. It's because the belief that you are not enough is like a shadow that follows you everywhere. It shapes your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your results. But here's the truth: being enough is not about perfection. It's not about comparing yourself to someone else's achievements, measuring your worth by the standards of the world, or waiting for validation from people who may never offer it. Being enough is about accepting that you are already complete, that you already possess the essence, the drive, and the capacity to create a life of meaning and impact. It's about recognizing that your mistakes do not define you, your failures do not diminish you, and your past does not determine your future. You are enough simply because you exist. And when you fully embrace that, everything changes. Think about how much energy we waste trying to prove ourselves, trying to earn what is already ours. The moment you stop chasing external approval, you stop seeking validation from the outside, you free up a tremendous amount of power to focus on creation, on growth, on the pursuit of your true purpose. That power is the fuel that transforms dreams into reality. It all starts with the belief that you are enough. When you operate from that place, you no longer live cautiously, you live boldly. You no longer measure yourself by fear or comparison. You measure yourself by your own standards and your own vision. Shifting this belief requires honesty. It requires you to look inward and identify the ways in which you've been diminishing yourself. You have to notice the moments when you say, can't, I'm not ready, or I don't deserve this. You have to recognize the small acts of self-sabotage that happen every day, the decisions you avoid making, the risks you refuse to take, the opportunities you let slip away. When you see them clearly, you have to make a conscious choice. Will you let this belief continue to define your life, or will you break free? Breaking free doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen without effort. Requires consistent practice, daily reminders, and the courage to challenge your own thoughts. Every time you notice yourself doubting your worth, you have to pause and ask, is this thought true? Is it just a story I've been telling myself? And then deliberately, you replace it with a belief that empowers you, that aligns with your potential, that pushes you toward growth. I am enough. You tell yourself. I am capable. I am worthy. Deserve to live the life I dream of. And the more you repeat it, the more it becomes your reality. When you truly internalize this belief, you stop seeking permission from the world. You stop fearing failure as a reflection of your value. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. And that shift in perception opens doors that were previously invisible, doors to opportunities, relationships, and achievements that you could not see while trapped in the belief that you weren't enough. Life starts to respond to you differently because your energy, your presence, and your confidence have changed. People notice it, opportunities appear. Challenges no longer intimidate, they test you, but they also strengthen you. And most importantly, you begin to see yourself not as someone who is waiting for life to happen, but as someone who creates it. The truth is, you have been enough all along. You just had to see it. You just had to claim it. You just had to refuse to let the old stories dictate your future. And the moment you do, you unlock a force within yourself that nothing in the world can stop. One of the most powerful forces holding people back is not money, not talent, lack of opportunity. It's the fear of judgment. Most people think they are cautious or realistic when they hesitate, when they hold back, when they don't fully show up. But the truth is, really at work is a quiet addiction to what other people think. From the moment we are born, we are trained to seek approval, to avoid disapproval, to fit in, to be like, to conform. And as children, that instinct keeps us safe. As adults, that same instinct keeps us small. It keeps us from taking the leaps we are meant to take, from speaking the words we are meant to say, from creating the life we are meant to live. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you held back because you were worried about what someone might think? How many times have you let fear of criticism dictate your choices, your career, your relationships? We polish our words, mute our voice, hide our ideas, shrink our presence because somewhere deep down we are terrified of being judged. We worry about rejection, ridicule, or failure, even when those things are invisible or improbable. And in that fear, we sacrifice authenticity, creativity, opportunity. We exchange the richness of our own potential for the fleeting comfort of other people's approval. The irony is that the world is rarely paying as much attention to you as you think it is. People are caught up in their own fears, insecurities, their own judgments. Yet we act as if every eye is on us, scrutinizing, evaluating, waiting for us to stumble. And in that act of assuming judgment, we start to censor ourselves. We start to play small. We start to settle for lives that are far less than what we were capable of achieving. And the more we do this, the stronger the fear becomes, because the mind loves patterns. The mind says, see, every time you try to shine, someone judges you. Better stay hidden. And just like that, a belief is born quietly, invisibly, subtly eroding your confidence and your ambition. But let me tell you something important. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means acting in spite of fear. Courage means stepping forward when the voice inside says, what if they laugh at me? Or what if I fail? Every person who has achieved anything remarkable has faced judgment. Every leader, every innovator, every creator, every person who changed their life has looked fear in the eye and said, I will not be controlled by you. And that is exactly what you must do. The moment you decide that your life is more important than other people's opinions, you stop being enslaved by the fear of judgment, is the moment you reclaim your freedom. The power of living free from the fear of judgment is extraordinary. When you stop worrying about what others think, your energy changes. Your confidence rises. Your clarity sharpens. You start making decisions based on your vision, not on imagined criticism. You start speaking your truth, showing your ideas, and pursuing your dreams without hesitation. And the world responds to that energy. Doors open, opportunities appear, and people are drawn to authenticity because authenticity is magnetic. It's a signal that you are in control of your own life, that you are not afraid to step into your power, and that you are willing to be fully yourself, no matter what anyone else thinks. But this transformation requires practice. It requires awareness. You have to notice when the fear of judgment is influencing your decisions, even in the smallest ways. You have to identify the moments when you are holding back your brilliance because you are worried about how it will be received. And then you have to make a choice. Will you continue living under the shadow of other people's opinions? Will you step into your own authority, your own confidence, and your own life? Every small decision to act despite fear builds strength. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, you rewire your mind, and the fear loses its grip. Here's the liberating truth. The fear of judgment is not a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of your mind, and your mind can be trained. The more you step forward, speak your truth, take risks, and embrace vulnerability, you prove to yourself that judgment does not have the power you have been giving it. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Eventually, you reach a point where the opinions of others no longer dictate your actions. Your life is guided by your values, your goals, and your vision rather than by imagined criticism. You begin to understand that living fully, boldly, and authentically is far more important than pleasing everyone around you. Every time you choose courage over fear, every time you act despite the worry of judgment, you are breaking the chains that have held you back. You are reclaiming the life you were meant to live. The moment you decide to refuse the prison of other people's opinions, the moment you step into your own power, nothing in the world can stop the energy and momentum you create. One of the quietest, most destructive beliefs people carry is the belief that success is meant for someone else. You've probably heard thoughts like this before. They were born lucky. Not me. I don't have the right connections. Some people just have it, and I don't. Deep down, many of us have bought into the story that the world reserves its rewards for a select few, that the life of abundance, impact, fulfillment is for others, not for us. And because we believe that, we unconsciously stop ourselves from even trying, stop ourselves from reaching for the opportunities that are right in front of us, stop ourselves from taking the actions that could change everything. This belief is particularly dangerous because it's subtle. It doesn't scream at you, it whispers. It shows up as procrastination, hesitation, or rationalization. You convince yourself that you're waiting for the right timing, the right resources, or the right circumstances, and while you wait, life passes you by. You see others achieving, others taking leaps, others claiming what you believe is unattainable for you. It reinforces the lie in your mind. You begin to accept the narrative that you are simply not the kind of person who succeeds, that you are meant to watch others live the life you dream of, and that your role is to observe rather than participate. Here's the hard truth: success does not belong to someone else. Success is not reserved for the chosen few. It belongs to anyone who decides to claim it, who chooses to act, and who refuses to let fear or limiting beliefs dictate their life. Every great accomplishment, every breakthrough, every story of transformation started with the simple decision to reject the idea that success was for someone else. Someone somewhere decided, I will not wait. I will not settle. Create my own life. And that decision changed everything. When you believe that success is not meant for you, you unconsciously limit your potential. You don't push yourself to learn new skills, to explore new opportunities, or to take risks. You become comfortable with mediocrity because mediocrity feels safer than the possibility of failure, of disappointment, of rejection. You look at others and admire their achievements. Admiration without action is empty. It only reinforces the distance between you and the life you want. And in that distance, your energy, your ambition, and your confidence slowly erode because the mind is always looking for evidence to support what it already believes. The first step to breaking free from belief is to recognize it for what it is: a story, not a fact. You must understand that the narrative telling you that success is for someone else is simply a reflection of fear, of past experiences, and of self-imposed limitations. It does not define your capability, your worth, or your future. The moment you see it clearly, the moment you call it out, you take the first step toward reclaiming your power. You realize that the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the belief that you don't belong, and that belief can be changed. Breaking this belief requires action. Awareness is not enough. You must begin to take steps that reinforce your worthiness and your capability. Every time you push past hesitation, every time you take a risk, every time you do something that moves you closer to your vision, you rewrite the story, you prove to yourself repeatedly that success is not reserved for anyone else. You start creating a track record of wins of courage, breakthroughs that your mind can no longer ignore. And slowly, the narrative that once held you back is replaced by one that empowers you, inspires you, and drives you forward. It also requires perspective. You must start to see the examples of success not as proof that others are chosen and you are not, but as evidence that anyone can do it. Every story of triumph is a story of someone deciding to act despite doubt, to persist despite obstacles, to refuse to accept that success was meant for someone else. And if they can do it, why can't you? Your circumstances, your history, and your challenges do not disqualify you. They are the soil in which your growth can flourish. The key to shifting this belief is to stop waiting. Stop waiting for external validation, for perfect timing, for someone to give you permission. Stop waiting for life to hand you the right circumstances because they may never come. Instead, start creating your own conditions for success. Take responsibility for your choices. Step into discomfort. Embrace uncertainty. And most importantly, claim the truth that has always been yours. The life you want is not meant for someone else. It is meant for you. Once you fully internalize this truth, everything changes. You stop holding back. You stop rationalizing. You stop shrinking in the shadows while life passes you by. Your actions, your mindset, and your energy align with possibility. Suddenly, doors that were once invisible become visible. Opportunities emerge. Confidence grows. Momentum builds. And you realize that the only real limit was the belief you were carrying all along. The moment you reject the lie that success is for someone else and step into the reality that it is yours to claim, you unlock the power to create the life you were born to live. One of the most powerful yet overlooked forces keeping people from their true potential is the comfort trap. Most of us live in it without realizing it. We cling to familiarity, to routines, to the habits we've known for years, even when they are slowly, quietly keeping us from the life we dream of. We convince ourselves that the familiar pain is safer than the unknown possibility. The known struggles, the patterns we've repeated, they feel predictable, and predictability feels safe. But here's the truth. Comfort is a prison disguised as security. It keeps you small, it keeps you stagnant, and it quietly robs you of the extraordinary life that is waiting for you. Think about it. How many times have you settled for less than you deserve because it felt easier than stepping into the unknown? How often have you stayed in a job, a relationship, or a situation that drained you simply because leaving would be uncomfortable? The mind tells us, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And we nod in agreement, ignoring the fact that the familiar is killing our dreams, one quiet compromise at a time. The comfort trap is seductive because it is invisible. It doesn't feel like fear, it feels like reason. It whispers, just wait, it will get better, you'll find the right opportunity eventually, it's fine as it is. And before you know it, years have passed, the life you imagined is still just a vision, always somewhere out there, never here. The problem is that growth demands discomfort. Every breakthrough, every leap into something greater requires leaving the familiar behind. Nothing extraordinary was ever built inside a comfort zone. The people who achieve remarkable things are not immune to fear. They simply choose to act despite it. They understand that the pain of staying the same will always outweigh the temporary discomfort of change. And this is the mindset shift that separates those who create their destiny from those who watch it pass them. By realizing that comfort is not safety, is surrender. The first step to breaking free from the comfort trap is to recognize it for what it is. Awareness is everything. Begin to notice where you are settling. Notice the areas of your life where you are choosing predictability over possibility. You avoiding a conversation, a risk, or an opportunity because it feels too uncertain? Are you staying in a routine that no longer serves you because it is easier than change? Identify it, name it, shine a light on it. Because the moment you see it, you gain the power to change it. Breaking free requires deliberate action. Comfort will resist. Change will feel unnatural at first. You will feel fear, doubt, and hesitation. That's normal. It's the mind's way of protecting you. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the act of moving forward in spite of it. Every small action you take outside of your comfort zone rewires your mind, strengthens your confidence, and builds momentum. Every time you choose growth over ease, you reinforce the truth that you are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. One of the most effective ways to break free is to create a vision so compelling that staying the same becomes unbearable. You connect deeply to the life you desire, the life you are capable of. The pain of remaining in your comfort zone begins to outweigh the fear of change. You start to see that the discomfort of action is temporary. The regret of inaction lasts a lifetime. You begin to measure your choices not by comfort, but by contribution, by growth, by alignment with your vision. And suddenly what once felt risky becomes necessary. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Another key is to surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you beyond your perceived limits, who refuse to let you settle for less than your potential. Energy is contagious. When you are around those who embrace growth, who take risks, who refuse to live small, their courage rubs off on you. It gives you permission to expand, to stretch, and to pursue what feels uncomfortable but right. And when your environment reinforces your commitment to growth, you start to operate at a level far beyond what you thought was possible. The comfort trap can be beaten, but it requires a decision. You must decide that your future is worth temporary discomfort. You must decide that your dreams matter more than your fear of change. You must decide that you will no longer allow the familiar to define your life. And the moment you make that decision, the moment you take your first step into uncertainty, you begin to reclaim your power. Every action you take outside of comfort compounds. Every risk, every challenge, every bold move builds courage and confidence. And soon you realize that the only limits that existed were the ones you allowed to exist. Because the truth is, comfort never leads to greatness. Comfort never leads to fulfillment. Comfort never leads to the life you were born to live. Only action, courage, the willingness to embrace the unknown can take you there once you begin to uncover the hidden beliefs that have been quietly controlling your life. The next step is reprogramming your mind. This is where transformation truly begins, because awareness alone will not create change. Awareness tells you what has been holding you back, but reprogramming gives you the tools to break free and step into the life you've been meant to live. The mind is powerful. It shapes your reality, drives your decisions, and colors every experience you have. And the incredible thing is that the mind can be trained. It can be rewired. You can replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, and the moment you do, everything changes. The first thing you need to understand is that your thoughts are not just thoughts. They are patterns. They are habits that have been reinforced over time. If you have spent years believing, I can't, I'm not worthy, or I will fail, your brain has wired those beliefs as truths. And because they feel true, your actions naturally align with them, often without you even realizing it. The good news is that patterns can be rewritten. Every time you consciously challenge a limiting thought and replace it with an empowering one, you begin to retrain your mind. Every small act of mental discipline strengthens new pathways, and over time, those new pathways become the default, just as the old ones once were. One of the most effective ways to reprogram your mind is through deliberate questioning. Every time a limiting belief arises, pause and ask yourself, was this actually true? Is it just a story I've been telling myself? And then take it a step further. What evidence do I have that proves the opposite? What can I do differently to create a new outcome? These questions are simple, but their impact is profound. They force your mind out of autopilot and they invite new possibilities to take root. They shift your focus from what you cannot do to what you can do. And that shift alone is transformational. Reprogramming doesn't stop at questioning thoughts. It also requires action. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must be paired with behavior. Every time you act in alignment with a new belief, you strengthen it. For example, if you want to replace the belief that you are not capable with the belief that you are capable of extraordinary things, then you must take actions that demonstrate your capability. You must step into challenges, push past fear, create results that reinforce the new belief. Action is the bridge between thought and reality. Without it, the mind reverts to old patterns, but with it, transformation becomes inevitable. Another critical component of reprogramming is environment. Your mind is highly influenced by the people, places, and experiences you immerse yourself in. If you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and complacency, your brain will naturally gravitate back to limiting patterns. If you surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and believe in possibility, your mind begins to internalize new standards. Your environment becomes a reflection of the life you are choosing to create. You begin to absorb new energy, new ideas, and new courage, all of which reinforce the beliefs you want to cultivate. Visualization is another powerful tool for reprogramming. The brain cannot fully distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. You consistently imagine yourself achieving your goals, living your dreams, and embodying the person you want to become. You are effectively rehearsing success in advance. You are sending signals to your subconscious that these outcomes are not only possible, but inevitable. Visualization primes your mind to recognize opportunities, take action. Persist through obstacles because your brain has already accepted that success is within reach. Affirmation is equally important. Words carry incredible power when you consistently speak in a way that reinforces your new beliefs. When you say, I am capable, I am worthy, I create my reality, you begin to replace old patterns of doubt with patterns of empowerment. Repetition is key. Your mind is like a garden. The thoughts you feed grow strong and the ones you neglect wither. Choose carefully what you feed it. Finally, reprogramming the mind requires patience and persistence. Transformation does not happen overnight and old patterns will resist. There will be moments of doubt, moments where the old beliefs reemerge. That is natural. The measure of progress is not perfection. It is persistence. Every time you recognize an old belief and consciously choose a new one, you grow stronger. Every time you act in alignment with your new mindset, you reinforce it. And over time, once felt impossible becomes normal. What once required effort becomes effortless. And what once seemed out of reach becomes your reality. When you master the art of reprogramming your mind, you unlock the most powerful tool in the universe. The ability to create your own life. You no longer have to be a victim of circumstance. You no longer have to be held back by fear, doubt, or old stories. Instead, you step into a life of freedom, possibility, and fulfillment. You begin to understand that your beliefs shape your reality, and when you consciously choose empowering beliefs, your life naturally transforms to match them. Because here's the ultimate truth. The only limits you face are the ones you accept. You take control of your mind. When you align your beliefs with your vision, you are unstoppable.